Hello, my name is Gordon and welcome back to the Modern Warfare 2 Beta. I want to do a complete overview of the menus and the create a class system before this beta ends. Sort of to compare what it looks like right now at almost the very end of the second week of the beta versus what it'll look like on launch. So I will revisit this game on launch and we'll see what it looks like. So I'll try to go over this quickly, but this video might be a little bit long. You'll have to forgive me for that. So, the menus. First off, the very first thing that you see on the menus is the message of the day. And I actually just realized that this is a quick menu thing. Message of the day, what's hot on games. Okay, so Vault Edition for pre-ordering, overview of the maps and perks, and yeah, it's the message of the day that usually sits on the lower corner right here. For some reason now this is a gigantic screen that is occupying too much space in my opinion. Next is what's hot, and before I go on, I do want to mention that this is not exactly the menu of Modern Warfare 2. This seems to be what that rumored Call of Duty hub will be. And in the future this may include modes from different games. For example, when the new Black Ops game comes out in 2024, then we might see what's hot for playlists of that game instead of Modern Warfare. Who knows? I say this because, look at this, there's a tab for games right here. And this has Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. So again, I suspect that this general menu is the Call of Duty hub that will probably go live in the future as Call of Duty hub or some whatever name it ends up having. So this is where you'll access Warzone 2.0 or Modern Warfare 2 or supposedly COD 2024, 2026, however this goes, right? So let's go over to Modern Warfare 2. And the menu is basically the same thing. Now, this menu looks a lot like what you would find on a streaming service. Say Netflix, Disney+, HBO Max, I suppose I don't actually have that. It's a little too big, in my opinion. These cards right here, these big as rectangles, I think they could be a little bit smaller. And on the same screen, right now, I think we could fit about 8 cards instead of just 4. Because if I want to move to the next few modes that to some eyes might actually be hidden, on mouse and keyboard I have to press this button right here, and I have the other 4 available. So Hardpoints, SND, Prisoner Rescue, and Knockout. They're kind of hidden, if not entirely hidden from this menu, by this simple arrow right here, and I cannot even scroll with the mouse or anything like that. And I understand, I like seeing this big ass art here. It's pretty nice, the things that they put together here. Heck, I cannot even use my... Look, that's a scroll wheel. Can't even use that. I can't scroll with the scroll wheel in this stupid menu. Again, I feel like we could be a bit more space efficient and put more modes or more cards by reducing the size of these things right here. Just reduce them by half and then put the other 8 below. And then put more, if you're gonna have more modes or more playlists, put them below those 8 and let me scroll down. Let me scroll down to those cards instead of doing this. This is not great. I understand that this is mainly for controllers in mind, but mouse and keyboard should be taken into consideration as well. And I see complaints from people that also use controllers, so this is pleasing nobody. So we should definitely take a look at this. For quickly, we now have filters again, just like Modern Warfare 2019, and we have access to TDM and Domination. I think Hardpoint should be put here. Hardpoint is a standard mode in Call of Duty right now, so and SND as well. This should be on the filter list. We also have access to a ground war. Well, 2 types of ground war, invasion and regular ground war. This is from 2019, and this is the 20v20 mode that has AI in it as well. There's also a third-person mode which plays surprisingly well, considering it's not the standard for Call of Duty. The original Modern Warfare 2 did have a third-person mode, but it wasn't very popular, and it never stuck with the series. So seeing it back is pretty novel. I really like that. We'll spend the most amount of time here on the weapons section, but let's quickly go over the operators. This is supposedly what the screen will look like in the future. It's nice, I suppose. You do have a full view of your, or well, actually half view of your operator, and the guys that we have here are, yeah, just like operators in previous games. They are just some random characters, whatever, we don't know who they are. But we also have the big guys here. We have Price. And if you're confused by the look, this isn't his regular skin, this is the pre-order bonus skin that he'll get, which basically makes him and 3 other operators look like Ghost, or have the same style with the whole mask thing. We have Farah making a return from 2019 as well, my favorite character from that game, or at least from the campaign. Ghost. Obviously he has to be here, he's in all of the marketing material. And Soap, finally joining the team. And finally we also have the... what is this called? The Milsim character. This is the only customizable character right now in the beta, and you actually have 4 skins for them, so this is what the customization screen will look like in the future, I suppose. There's spaces for operator taunts and finishing moves. These are standard, these are the same as 2019. And then you also have the other side. This is the Spec Guru side, and if you press X you can set this as favorite. So, and this is what's gonna show up on... this is what's gonna show up when you, for example, press quick play, and this is the operator that's gonna show up, the one that you chose here from the specific packaging. And we have less guys here, obviously. These are not filled up because we have basically 4 characters that probably shouldn't be here, but they were here because pre-order bonuses that were available in the beta. So we have these random assholes for the Cortax side of things, and we also have a Milsim operator as well. Same deal, he gets 4 skins as well in the beta. If you didn't know, now you know. The store is just for you to pre-order the game, there's nothing else important here. This is of course where you'll find all of the bundles and whatnot. Now, the big part of this whole thing, the weapon side of things. Oh, actually, before we move on to that, there's also this quick menu thing that we have right here, which will send you back to home, will send you to the social tab where you can see your friends list. You have progression, well, you'll see what unlocks you'll have per every level in the game. Then we have channels, because apparently this game is gonna have some sort of Discord Lite kind of system where you can create voice channels for your parties, or you can create, or there's one for the lobby, and there's apparently 5 specific channels that you can create for yourself. There's the My Players Can Rename Lead channel. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. I don't think anyone's really tried this out in the beta, so we'll see how this works. But at least for consoles, this might be practical, assuming that Discord is still a better option if you have a party to play with. I don't, so I am most likely not gonna try this thing out. But it's cool that it's there. You have some notifications to tell you... it tells you what challenges you just completed, which is kind of cool. It's a helpful way to keep track of quite possibly camos or weapon unlocks or specific challenges that give you XP rewards. Nice, I like that. Then there's settings. Now I won't go over these today. I do have it recorded, so I'll have reference of what's in here, but it's the usual stuff. It's your controller stuff. You can pause the video if you want to see any specific option here. So I'll collapse these things just so that you can see, and again, pause if you need to look at any specific thing. We have advanced options for targeting assist and aiming sensitivity multipliers, custom sensitivity per zoom levels. This is available on both controller and mouse and keyboard, which is nice. Dead zones, which is very helpful for controllers, and a whole bunch of other things right here, so I'll try to go over it slowly so that you can see what's up. Some standouts, for example, is plunging underwater, because there's underwater mechanics in this game, thank God. You can plunge freely, or you can plunge, for example, sprint and look down to plunge underwater, or look down and move forward to plunge underwater. This is what I use. It just comes more natural to me than having to crouch, for example, to go underwater. Same thing for mouse and keyboard. You have your sensitivity options, and you have multiple levels of different sensitivities. ADS sensitivities as well. You have transition timings, ADS mouse sensitivity with legacy options and whatnot. So again, possibility to look at specific things. Monitor distance coefficient. This is something that you would need to calculate by yourself. Again, custom sensitivities for your reticles and whatnot. Graphics options, well, I'm on PS5, so there's not many graphics options. When this comes out, or rather, when Warzone 2.0 comes out, I'll play or download it and look at the options menu on PC, and maybe I'll make a video about it, or maybe I'll make just something quick. Probably nothing too detailed, but it is something that I really like to look at in my games. When I used to play Call of Duty on PC, I always went to the options menu before doing anything else. I like my performance settings, of course. You have this on-demand texture streaming, which I'm about to turn off because, to my knowledge, even if it degrades the quality of visuals, but I think this also causes some packet burst issues. So I'm gonna turn this off now. Audio settings as well, you have an audio test, which I'm not gonna play because I believe it's a little loud. Speaker options or audio mix options, separate sliders. Thank God Infinity Ward is not exactly known for putting these in their games, at least not until 2019. Subtitles, default all on custom campaign multiplayer or co-op. You have voice chat options, you always have that. I usually like to keep this off, but I wanted to listen to the quality of players' audio during the beta. Let's see if people are still as crazy in Call of Duty as they've always been, and surprise, surprise, they are. Jargon music, I'm gonna change this hit marker sound effect. Hit markers are a bit of an issue in this game. You don't always listen to all of the hit markers, which is weird. Hopefully they'll fix that. Interface menus, subtitles, once again all on. Text sizes, subtitle sizes, different opacity options, sliders, language selection. You have limited amount of languages, hopefully, and most likely there will be more on launch. This one, color customization. If I recall correctly, Modern Warfare 2019 did not have this. It only had the, what is this? Hot color palette. It only had this, the colorblind settings, and that was it. I might be wrong, but I don't remember them having full-on color customization in that game. Now, I like, for example, to put my enemies in yellow. I tend to differentiate yellow name tags a lot better when they are yellow rather than when they're red. I do have some colorblind issues myself. Although, because enemies don't have name tags in this game above their heads, then I really don't understand what the point is. It's a little weird. Also, I just want to mention, these shots right here are from the Marina Grande pre-map, which Infinity Ward has deleted all mentions of so far. I think even the video that they released, where they showcased this map, might have been deleted as well. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we all thought this was going to be part of the beta, and it ended up not being for whatever reason, but I guess you have some shots of the map right here, and demonstrations of what the colors will look like. Except, of course, no name tag, so the enemy one is probably quite irrelevant. But it does apply to things like objective markers and things of that nature. You'll see, well, you've probably already seen that in gameplay. I'm not the only one that's changed their colors, I don't think. Minimap shape, square or round. Square covers more area than round, so I recommend square. Rotation and a whole bunch of other things. Telemetry. This is where you'll enable the ping meter right here on the corner, or your packet loss and whatnot. And there's even a connection meter that I've only seen one person use. That was J-Hub, I think. Don't really use that much myself, but it's yet another meter that sits about here where my mouse is pointing in the game, and that's pretty cool to have. And this is a common network, is where you'll turn on or off your crossplay or cross-play communication. That's where you have a bunch of things such as streamer mode as well. Network info, I'm not gonna show you any of that. I can't even, the PlayStation won't let me record that. And finally, my favorite new thing that they added, a quick settings option. If you've noticed, for example here, there's this prompt right here for Alt or right click for options. And what this does is it allows you to reset the setting, so reset mouse sensitivity, or add this or remove from the quick settings menu. So, say for example, I want to have this aiming input device, and I can press X to add it to quick settings. So right now, you can see quick settings. These are all my options, all supposedly 7. I'm only seeing 6, but all these options, right? Volume, sensitivity, texture streaming, FX cast strength, and whatnot, FOV. But if I come here and I press X, it's been added to the quick settings, and there's even this star right here to let you know that it's in the quick settings. So now mouse sensitivity is here. So anything across your whole range of options in the options menu can be added to quick settings. You have up to 15 slots. So let's say you're in game and you want to press the menu, then you'll quickly find yourself with this this whole window right here. Going to quick settings, change that specific setting, and that's it. And it's a quick setting because it's just a quick, very convenient options menu to have. Possibly one of the coolest things that they've done with this game is this quick settings thing. This is gonna help a lot of people, I think. So for whatever reason on social, okay, weapons. There's vehicle customization, and this is about the same level of customization that existed in 2019, except that there's a ton of vehicles already in this game, at least, that you can see. And I think apart from the hatchback, the SUV, cargo truck, most of these are already playable in in Ground War. Well, I'm not sure if I've seen all three of these tanks, but I've definitely seen some of them. Like Hilo I haven't seen, but that's definitely Warzone. This heavy chopper is one of the coolest things about Ground War. Definitely one of the coolest aspects of it. There's some boats, and as you can see, there's some skin settings, war horn, and music. Same as 2019, so nothing new there. Then there's the Killstreaks, and most of these are about the same as 2019, but with one enormous, monumental difference. As you can see right here, these are not kill values, these are score values. There's this toggle right here that apparently can use to press, and there you go. This single toggle fixes a major issue that I had with 2019. In that game, you require the use of a perk to turn your typical kill streak system into a score streak system. In this game, that has been fixed. You don't need a perk, you simply need to toggle this on or off, and you turn kill streaks into score streaks. You can play either the Slayer or the objective player without any sacrifice, and this is huge. I myself am very much, almost obsessed with objectives on the objective game modes. This is an old term, but I PTFO, and this is a major help for me. In my experience, a singular kill has, a value of 1, but as a score streak, I think it has 125, which makes it so that it is still 4 kills to get a UAB at 500 score as a UAB as a kill streak. So the score streak system was designed so that you needed more kills in general to get what you would have gotten with less kills if it was a kill streak system. So if this was a Black Ops game, for example, you would be earning about 100 score to earn a UAB, which means that you would require 5 kills instead of 4. And in some games, I think the UAB was either a 3 kill streak or maybe a 4 kill streak. There was also Hardline. That was all the way back to Black Ops 2 when the score streak system was originally released. In this game, it seems to be about the same kill value, so yeah, I guess 5 kills would be 625. Yeah, it would be it's about the same amount of kills if you're just going for kills, of course. Yeah, 625 would be 5 kills by earning 125 score per kill. So I'm just realizing that they designed it specifically so that it's the same amount of value, which means the running score streaks in this game might actually just be way more convenient than kill streaks, because okay, kill streaks, you're entirely dependent on kills, right? It's just kills and that's it. No amount of objective play is going to allow you to earn any of these faster. With score streaks, objective play is heavily rewarded. This might even need to be balanced now that I think about it, but objective play is heavily rewarded. Capturing points, for example, in domination gives you 100 points. It used to be 200 if you capture an enemy flag. In this game, I think it's just a flat 100, no matter what flag you're getting, but I might be wrong. I haven't been paying attention all that much. But of course, that means that if you're playing the objective, it is in your best interest to run score streaks instead of kill streaks. You're gonna get way more value out of the system. Also, since Black Ops 2, like 10 years ago or something like that, running a UAB or a counter UAB was very helpful, because any kills that your enemies got thanks to your UAV would count as an assist. That'll give you 10 points, same as the CUAV. So running these two at the same time and then having any of your allies kill enemies gives you a bonus of 20 points, and that does go towards your score streaks. So the higher the player count, the more assist score you're going to get, and the faster you're going to get towards the next streak. So this setup isn't actually all that bad. It earns you your streaks pretty quickly. And then there's also hardline in this game, although we'll talk about how that works. In the score streak system, it helps you with 125 points, the equivalent of 1 kill. So it's about the same. It helps you with 1 kill or 125 points. Now, most of the streaks have returned from 2019 for a few exceptions. As you can see, there is no personal radar. That was a thing that introduced in that game for weird reasons, but it's no longer here. It doesn't make any sense. Bomb drone is kind of like an RCXD, but it's a flying drone instead, and it's quite slow. Cluster mine is, if you recall the IMS from Modern Warfare 3 and Ghosts, it was like a cluster. Well, it's a cluster mine. It's a bunch of mines that you lay on the ground, and when an enemy comes close, they immediately explode. It's like a super bouncing Betty. You have the mortar strike, which is really just not the cruise missile, the cluster strike. But this one's better because it just lasts longer. It shoots more mortars over time than the cluster strike in that game. That was a pretty quick streak. In this game, it just bombards a particular area for way longer. I think like twice the amount of time that it used to. You have the SAE, which is a lightning strike from the Black Ops series. Problem is that it's really slow. Really, really slow. I don't like it all that much. Overwatch Hilo, I think, is just like an escort drone of sorts. You have the wheels on coming back, but this time it also has some auto-centric capabilities. So you can kind of leave it as an AI-controlled streak and it'll do some work for you. I don't think it'll move it, it'll just stay, but you can leave it. In the previous game, it was, I think you could only move it and that was it. You could only control it yourself and you were laying on the ground doing nothing. This gives you some level of freedom. Stealth Bomber is also coming back from Modern Warfare 3, I think. Chopper Gunner, this one I think is bugged because you're supposed to be able to move this regularly, but you can't in this game. It just sits in the middle of the map and that's it. Then you have Gunship, the AC-130, Advanced UAV, and Juggernaut is once again the final score streak that you can earn. Not very exciting, but Juggernauts are very hard to kill anyways. Now, the meat. The most important part of the menus in Call of Duty, the Create a Class system. We're back to the original Gunsmith. So, you actually have a new classification for rifles in this game. You have battle rifles, which are rifles that have higher calibers than assault rifles typically. Or at least in this game, they'll simply do more damage. But you have less ammunition for them, and they are by default semi-auto weapons. At least as of right now. We're not sure if launch weapons are going to have full auto capabilities, at least by default. You can actually switch these to full auto. You can versus those in full auto firepower. Yeah, you can switch these to full auto. They're pretty powerful, but they're extremely inaccurate, so you might as well just stick to semi-auto. Assault rifles are typical stuff. You'll almost likely have the most amount of this class in the whole game. And there's your typical assault rifle lineup. So you have a HK-53 or the Lackman 5.56. You have M4, M16, AK-74U is now an assault rifle in this game, and the Scar L. Now, I'll go over the M4 after I'm done with all of this. You have battle rifles. You have this M4 looking FTAC Recon. You have this, which I'm pretty sure is the G3, the Lackman 7.62. It's just a G3. You have the MP5, Lackman Sub, FSS Hurricane, pretty nice M4 with a P90 magazine on the barrel. This is quite neat. I didn't even know this existed. I think this is called the AR-57 in real life, if you want to look it up. The Fennec, which is just a Vector. Shotguns, you have this pretty powerful semi-auto shotgun. You have 3 LMGs, an M4 platform LMG, an MP5 platform LMG, which is the HK-21, I think, in real life. And this Sakin MG-38 Not sure what this is in real life, but I haven't really used it. You can't even customize it right now. You have this, which is the PSG-1 in real life, the LMS. And the Lockwood Mark II. The Mark II comes back from 2019 and it's just a cowboy rifle. It's not extremely effective, but it's really fun to use. And then you have a very cool addition, the GM6 Lynx. In this game it's called the Signal 50, and it works just about the same. If you know anything about this thing in real life, you will know that the barrel will reciprocate all the way back to the gun itself in order to cock the next round, because this is a bullpup. And this, I've noticed that it does the same thing in the game, so nice attention to detail. The gun works as it should, and it tells you very much that this is in fact a Lynx. Okay, enough nerding out. There's also some secondaries. 2 pistols, Glock 17 and Glock 18. This one's full auto, this one's semi-auto. That's all you need to know. Okay, you'll notice that I did mention a weapon platform before, and you also may have noticed that a lot of guns in different categories look like an M4 or an MP5. And that is intentional. This game does feature a weapon platform system, just to reach real life ever so slightly closer. So, this is the full customization system right here. It's about the same as 2019, but with a few exceptions. There is no weapon perk this time around. But in replacement to that is a returning attachment slot from Vanguard, and that is the ammunition slot. And some of these you may recognize from Vanguard as well. You have frangible rounds, which inflict a wounding effect, which delays healing for your enemies. You have armor piercing, which increases armor piercing against vehicles. So if you want a sort of anti-streak, anti-vehicle class, you will be running this thing. Okay, given the bullet model changes, at least the ones that you have unlocked. Now, I have this weapon at max level, at least in the beta, and you'll notice that I still have a whole bunch of classified items, and you will see this for other attachment slots as well. We have some extra, some higher round, some higher round magazine attachments. You have some underbarrels, and you'll also notice that there's an enormous amount of these, and so many of them are locked. I could only unlock these 5 with all of the weaponry available in the beta. Also, by the way, this system is similar to the menus that I showed you in the Call of Duty Hub, and there's even this arrow right here as well, but I can actually use my scroll wheel here. So, interesting how I can here, but not in the other menus. Okay? And the typical stuff: rear grip, stock, optic, laser, barrel, muzzle, underbarrel, ammunition, and magazine. And you'll notice this. This is a new one. The receiver. This isn't an attachment. This is basically converting your gun into a completely different one. And this is what the whole weapon platform is about. So, if I go to the receiver right here, you'll notice that I have 5 available. The M4, the M16, the 5.56 Icarus, the LMG, the FTAC Recon, the Battle Rifle, and the FSS Hurricane, the funky P90 Mag M4, or the AR-57, right? The reason I have all of these available right here is because all of them belong to the so-called M4 platform. And what guns belong to any specific platform you can see here in the progression tab. And this is kind of a skill tree of sorts that they provide right here. So as you can see, we will start from the M4, and at some point the M4 will unlock 2 receivers, the FTAC Recon and the 5.56 Icarus. Then the Icarus will unlock the M16 at some point, and the Recon will unlock the Hurricane at some point. Now we can get some more details in here. And actually this menu needs a little work as well, because I can scroll with my mouse. Not scroll, I can drag my mouse around here like this, no problem, but if I use the scroll wheel, it'll send me to the next weapon. This isn't actually that intuitive, and with another weapon platform this doesn't work as well. The MP5 doesn't work exactly the same as this, as in some receivers unlock in different orders, and the menu is just entirely messy. But anywho, in this game, like I said, you'll start with the M4, for example, and this M4 has its own specific series of attachment unlocks, and you'll see it only has 19, which means that the M4, at least in the beta, only has 19 levels. and I expect to have more levels, quite possibly 25-ish on launch. If it doesn't stay this way, at least it'll at least have 19 levels by, and maybe more perhaps. It's a beta, and we may not have access to the entire progression of any of these weapons. But whatever the case, what that means is that to fully max any specific weapon, it takes a lot less time. You'll remember that Call of Duty Vanguard had 70 levels per weapon and 60 levels for secondaries. This game, you can see an M4 only has 19 levels, whereas in Modern Warfare, I think it also had 17 levels, and that was the highest amount of levels for any gun in that game because of how flexible that Gunsmith was specifically for the M4 in that game. Now, the reason it's so low in this game is because a lot of attachments that you'll get for the M4 platform, which some of them are shared, will unlock for different weapons. So, if I go to the F-Tag Recon right here, this one also has its own set of weapon attachments, or yeah, it'll have its own specific progression of attachment unlocks, which is completely separate from what you unlock for the M4. Some of these attachments can be shared across the entire platform, some can't. It depends entirely on how the weapon itself functions. Also, this menu is kind of bugged. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Some attachments don't have descriptions, whatever. But back to the M4, you'll see here at level 13 is when you unlock the receiver for the F-Tag Recon. That means that the only way to unlock this gun now, the Recon, is through the M4 progression. Which means that no matter how much you level up your character, I'm currently level 30, max in the beta. No matter if I hit this level or level 55, I will not unlock the F-Tag Recon unless I use the M4 first. Same thing here, I won't unlock the Hurricane until I use the F-Tag Recon up to level 16, and only then will I have access to the Hurricane, which has its own set of attachments as well. Same thing for the Icarus, it unlocks at level 18 of the M4. And then at level 13 it unlocks the M16. Each of them with its own specific set of attachments to unlock, some of which can be shared across different weapons. So that's really cool, that actually forces variety in the game. If you want your most effective loadout, which may have the best sights or the best underbarrels, you'll need to use other weapons to get to those specific attachments. But each weapon will progress way quicker than in any other game. In fact, leveling up the entire M4 platform took me one single play session. At least in the beta, weapon levels were extremely quick. Like, this amount of levels is what you would expect out of a Black Ops game all the way to Black Ops 4. Cold War did introduce a Gunsmith system with a whole bunch of levels. I think it had 50 levels in every weapon, 50 or 55. So this game is bringing something new to the table and something that I think is an extremely good idea. So, for example, I have this whole set of barrels, but you'll notice this looks more like an M16 barrel, same as this one. They look exactly the same, it's just that one has a longer barrel than the other. Well, longer, yeah, pretty much, and somewhat designed differently. These barrels I didn't unlock on the M4, I unlocked them on the M16. But because they're both assault rifles and they're kind of similar configurations except for the firing method, that means that I can use M16 barrels on my M4. I think there are some barrels here, for example this Tempest Firebrand barrel. I think I can use this on the F-Tag Recon, this is a shorter length barrel. And maybe this way, I think I can use them on the Icarus, I'm not exactly sure. So as you can see, it's a huge variety of attachments, some of which won't be unlockable through the weapon itself, but through another weapon, but that have shared compatibility with each other. That's really cool. So let's, for example, build something like this, right, with this barrel. Then there's lasers, and lasers are part of a global system of attachments, or rather universal attachments is what they call them. So basically attachments that may be compatible across multiple platforms rather than just being locked to the M4 platform. So some of these, for example, will also be available on the HNK platform. Well, it's called the Lachman Mir platform. this game, but HK guns, right? Some of these are compatible with the assault rifle version of the HK platform in this game as well. But the cool idea is that if you unlock them, for example on the M4 platform, they are now unlocked for the HK platform at the same time. Which means that as soon as you have access to lasers on any specific weapon on that platform that accepts it, you already have them. You don't have to unlock them again for that platform. That platform will instead unlock different laser attachments that can also be shared with the M4, for example. So that's really cool. That means that a specific platform will have a specific attachment that unlocks globally, and it'll be equipable on any gun that allows it. That is an extremely cool system as well. It's gonna take a lot longer for people to know where the best attachment of any specific slot is located, because they'll have to go through multiple weapon platforms to notice where it is. And then they'll have to test it, because these don't do exactly the same thing. Some have cons, some have pros and cons, some only have pros. This is also taken from Cold War and Vanguard, because 2019 only had attachments with pros and cons at the same time, so they took some lessons from those games as well. Pretty neat. As you can see, there's also a huge variety of lasers that I'll be able to equip with the M4, unlockable in other platforms. But because I have this unlocked, then in theory with other platforms I want to go to the SCAR platform, and as soon as I have the attachments available for it, the attachment slot, then I'll immediately be able to equip these without needing to level up that gun all that much, which is really cool. The only gripe I have with the system though is that, for example here, I have all of these, but I don't know where to unlock them. I know I mentioned that it's cool that people will have to go through different platforms to see where the best attachments are or where any specific attachment is. However, I think it would be a lot more helpful that the game tells you. For example, this right here, I want to use this funky looking laser. I would love to know where it is. The game should tell you, at the very least it should tell you what platform it's on. I'm not even saying tell me specifically which platform and then receiver, just tell me which platform, and then I'll go to that platform and grind it until I find my particular attachment. So I think it should give you a bit of direction, because right now it's a guessing game. Even though I know it's the beta and they might have thought of that already for launch, but as of right now we don't know if it's confirmed or not, so I would like it if this told me where it was. Right? So I'm gonna equip a laser here. Then there's a whole set of optics as well. There's some like hybrid thermo optic. This one's pretty neat, although the thermo kind of sucks. I won't lie about that. There's some red dots, there's a 2x, and there's a whole bunch of hybrids, a whole bunch of high power zoom optics, some lower zoom optics as well. All of these unlockable in other platforms as well, so the M4 won't be unlocking too many. Well, there's actually quite a bunch of optics right here, but it's not the whole suite of optics, and other platforms will take care of this. There's also magazine. Let's equip a 60 round mag, and then underbarrel. This is also another one of those universal attachments. So some of these, I think this one was unlocked in the HK platform, or maybe it was this noob tube right here. And then again, a whole bunch. I think this is the underbarrel shotgun. God knows where this is unlocked, but again, cool. How would you determine which ones are and which ones aren't unlockable through, or which ones aren't global, rather? I think it's because simply what fits on a Picatinny rail. These things. What fits on a Picatinny rail? Optics. Lasers. These are things that usually go on a Picatinny rail, even in real-life weapons. At least those that do have standardized Picatinny rails in their platforms. And muzzle devices as well. This is also considered a universal attachment. Even though that depends more on the barrel construction than anything else, and that also depends on the weapon manufacturer, but whatever, we're using muzzle devices as universal attachments. So again, this suppressor might have been unlocked in a different platform altogether. So neat. Also, you'll notice that I have a limit of 5 attachments. This isn't any real build that I'm making, this is just for demonstration purposes. There's also the rear grips, which thankfully are not simple tapes in this game like it was in Vanguard or I think even Cold War. It's just completely differently built grips. This one even has a palm rest. This one's meant for more precision shooting. So neat. And finally the stocks. No stocks or different types of constructions. This is an M16 stock, for example. So yeah, I now have a fully kitted M4. Now, the cool thing is that if I want to switch to the M16, for example, oh look, this one isn't even an M16 barrel, it will remove it. So, if I switch to an M16, as you can see, it will remove the barrel, so it'll go back to standard barrel, but everything else it'll keep. So let's go to the M16, and it kept the laser, the underbarrel, the mag, and the optic. It didn't keep the barrel though. So, for example, wait, isn't this the same? Carbine, 14-inch carbine shroud barrel. Then I switch to the M4. It's the same thing. I know this is probably a bug. It shouldn't be removing it. It's the same. It's literally the same thing. But now, if I go to the 5.56 Icarus, it'll remove the barrel, the magazine because this receiver feeds differently, and the optic because it will not accept a red dot. But it kept the laser and the underbarrel. So now I can have a 100 round box mag here, right? And then optics, it accepts high power optics or different kinds of red dots, right? So I'll equip this, right? I'm not sure why. It's still a Picatinny rail. I don't exactly know why it doesn't accept red dots, but it might be for balance purposes. I don't know. It also has its own completely different set of barrels. As you can see, it doesn't change the handguards or... Yeah, it doesn't change the handguards here, but it changes the barrel itself. That's the whole point. Really neat. And then one more for the Hurricane. It only removed the magazine and the attachment because the Hurricane doesn't accept high-powered optics. But again, it kept the box. No, it kept the laser and the underbarrel. And this applies even if the Hurricane is at level 1. So I have a fully kitted M4 right here. Boom. Throw this. Throw no, not this. Throw this thing, and then have a stock. No stock. Okay, right. Now switch to the FSS Hurricane, and it'll remove the 60 round mag and the no stock because this doesn't allow these attachments, but it kept everything else. It kept the optic, the laser, and the underbarrel, and this will apply even if the Hurricane is at level 1 with no attachments unlocked. Great way to start an entirely new weapon class, or a new weapon. I want to start with a level 1 Hurricane, I want to use it and grind it, but I don't have to have no attachments on it. I can have some attachments. Which is one of the coolest things that they've also done with this game. Just switch receivers and you'll keep some of the attachments. Very helpful, very helpful. I do have one more gripe with this though. The issue with level 1 weapons in this game is that they decided to lock the attachment slots behind levels. So for example, barrel I think is unlocked immediately, but say muzzle or stocks or optics might be locked behind, say, weapon level 5, 3, weapon level 10 even. I think 10 is the maximum that they've locked any attachment slot behind. But that's the problem. When you switch to a new receiver, it's on level 1. And even if you applied most of the attachments that could be applied between weapons or between receivers, that means that I can't customize them. For example, if this was at level 1, I wouldn't be able to customize my optic here. I think I could only remove it and that's it, but I wouldn't be able to change it in the Hurricane, even though I can just circumvent this by going to the M4, switching to this, then to the Hurricane, back to the Hurricane, and it's there. But because the optic slot will be locked behind level something, then I won't be able to customize it in the Hurricane. I'll have to do this sort of weird workaround to do this, which I think is completely unnecessary. If I have a way to work around the system, why is the system in place in the first place? Why are attachment slots unlocked behind, or rather locked behind levels? It doesn't make sense. So I suggest that they just remove that entirely for launch. And that's it for weapons. If you want to look at the MP5 platform, or well, the MWII platform, it works the same way. So let's go to the MP5. I don't think this is the starting point, so let's go to progression. And look, as you can see, this actually starts with the 7.62. It starts with the G3 rifle. And okay, if you saw the progression, again, if you saw the progression right here, it doesn't work the same way. So the G3 will unlock the PSG, it will unlock the HK53. Then this will unlock the HK21 and the MP5. And I'll use the real names right now, I'll get used to it at some point, but Lachman doesn't roll off the tongue all that well. So, like, I'm scrolling down, for example, right here, and it's doing nothing. I'm scrolling up and it's doing nothing. How do I... Like, I'm kind of locked, or... yeah, this has to be done differently on mouse and keyboard. This just doesn't work well at all. But, as you can see, same deal. Unlock a receiver right here, unlock a receiver right here. And then I scrolled up and it took me to the weapon to the right. And then I scroll up again and it's doing nothing. This is messy. This needs some work. Definitely needs some work. This progression tab does not work all that well. My suggestion would be that I simply click here and I'm able to drag up and down and then left and right like I can right here, right? But across the entire platform, not just any specific weapon. And it's basically just a simple map. And that's it, because the way it is set up right now for mouse and keyboard doesn't... Like, I'm scrolling up and down, and it's... Like, it's only now doing something, but before it was... Like, right now it's doing nothing. I'm scrolling up and down. And it's doing nothing, like... Ugh, this is messy. Don't like it. Finally, you'll have the same as the previous games. Camo unlocks charms. Decals. And... Okay, let's apply this neat decal, and then stickers. It's locked, but you'll have this on launch, and on specific slots on the gun as well. But the same thing, right? And that's it, really. That's it for the Gunsmith. That's how it's gonna work this time around. I really, really enjoy the new changes. This Gunsmith 2.0 is a system that I think I will enjoy quite a lot. Hopefully this will also apply for, say, the Glocks. This is the XRK pistol platform, so you have some Glocks right here. I am assuming, of course, that these are considered different receivers for the same platform, because they, yeah, as you can see, they are both the same platform. It's just that one is full load and one is single shot. Again, Glock 17, Glock 18. Which means that attachment compatibility should be almost the same across both guns, which is really cool. You have your tacticals here, most of them returning from the previous game. Sparta Scope was a Warzone exclusive thing, now it's in multiplayer as well. And you have the shock stick, which you might be confused as it being the same stick from Black Ops 2 and 3, but it's not really. It doesn't stun you. What it does is it makes you unable to ADS when you're close to this, right? It makes you unable to ADS, and it automatically shoots your gun at the maximum possible fire rate for it, even if it's a single shot. It's like messing with your body and you're shooting your gun against your will, so you'll give your position away. And that's it. Everything else works exactly the same as 2019. Here you have also the same things. The new addition here is the drill charge, one of the best anti-camper tools in the game. So what you do is you throw this on a wall. The explosive will drill through the wall and explode on the opposite end. This works on both walls, ceilings, and floors, assuming that you're like on the second floor and you throw this down, then it'll drill down onto the lower floor and kill enemies there. And it's a pretty powerful explosive. This is quite effective. So this works exceptionally well in things like hardpoint, to throw an explosive into the point without really exposing yourself. This works really well in ground war when you're trying to take out roof campers. You see campers that are on the roof of a building that you can't quite get to, and you know they will camp the stairs. So you go into a room about the same position below them, and you throw this on the ceiling, and boom, they're dead. You can even stick players with it, kind of like a Centex or a Thermite. So you can stick a player, it'll drill through the player and then explode. It's really, really funny. Another thing you can do in Ground War is you can throw this at tanks. And if it sticks to the tank, it will actually kill the driver and the other players inside. Really effective to take down a tank without exactly taking down the tank. You're taking out the drivers and the passengers. That is one of the coolest things, and I run this in Ground War religiously. Before we go to perks, which is the last thing that we'll look at, we have the field upgrades. Actually, yeah, okay. So, again, a lot of the returning from 2019. Deployable cover, it's a wall that you can put, tac insert from Vanguard. Well, it's many COD games, but last seen in Vanguard. I don't think this was in 2019, if I recall correctly. Trophy system, the same one as Vanguard, unfortunately. I think the 2019 version was stronger. This is about the same as the Vanguard version, though. It's still quite useful. Dead Silence, this was nerfed to the ground in this game, and I don't use it nearly as much. Apparently, there's even some sounds that nearby enemies can hear when you activate this thing. It doesn't activate immediately like it did in the previous game. You now pull out this device right here, you press it, and then you activate your Dead Silence. And when you activate this, like I said, it seems like enemies actually get to hear some sort of radio noise that let them know that you're activating Dead Silence nearby them, which is stupid. I hope that they remove that. Portable radar. This comes back from Modern Warfare 3. Don't know if it was in any other game before that. No, or after that. Or maybe Ghost. But it's a portable UAV, essentially. That's what it is. Battle Rage, kind of like Beast Mode. You huff some copium, and you now have increased health regeneration and tactical sprint. No, tactical equipment is resisted, tac sprint is constantly refreshed. It turns into a beast for a short amount of time, but it also has a slow activation because you have to inhale the gas first. Suppression Mine supposedly disrupts enemies as they come close. I haven't seen anybody use this except for myself one time on a default class, and it was funky, but I'm not sure if it was that effective. Once again, I haven't seen anybody use this though. Loadout drop, same as the previous game. Tac camera, one of my favorite ones as well. You throw this like a grenade at any surfaces, it'll stick to the surface, and you can now have a camera view. However, if you don't use the camera itself, what you can do, or what it'll do for you, is it'll detect enemies that come nearby, and you can have two of these up at the same time. Neat. Munitions box, same thing. Smoke airdrop, a drone that drops smoke. Haven't seen anybody use this. Inflatable decoy is what it says on the tin. It's a decoy. You plant this on the ground. You can pop it by yourself, or it'll pop on its own when enemies come nearby. Recon drone spots enemies. DDoS supposedly disrupts equipment nearby, and it'll tell you how many enemy equipment is near you. And anti-armor rounds, this replaces the stopping power rounds that existed in 2019. Those are not back here. Also, as you can see, although we don't have access to it in the beta, but we do have the Field Upgrade Pro, which means that we can equip a second field upgrade and choose between one or the other. The one that charges lower determines how fast any of the two charge. And finally, the perks. Now, I'll make a new one for demonstration purposes. So, the idea is, first off, that how we select perks in this game is done through basically classes, perk classes. The game has a bunch of default ones, and then we can create our own. We can only make 5. I don't like this right off the bat because that means that if I want to customize perks for any class with any particular necessity in mind, I need to have a perk package made for that specific necessity, and I can't quickly change it without affecting other classes. Because if I, for example, have on this class I have a perk package 2, I have these two with perk package 2, but maybe I want a different perk on this one, and I can't go in and change this perk package 2. I can edit, of course, but I can't edit it without affecting the other class because both work on the same perk package. So this is dumb. I really hope that this whole well, perk package system is referred to as how the perks work in this game, but I hope that the idea of having perk classes like this goes away. I just want to just send me straight to this page right here, where I can edit what perks I want. That's it, that's all I need, literally. But, back to the demonstration class. The idea of this game is that you start with 2 base perks. These are available immediately. And then throughout the match, you'll earn first a bonus perk, which unlocks really quickly right now. They've accelerated how quickly this charges over how it was on the first weekend of the beta, to the point where having this be earned like this is kind of pointless. And then you have an ultimate perk, which at this point unlocks about halfway into the match. And as you saw earlier, we can edit these. Basic perk is the same list, and you have 8 perks available: Overkill, Double Time Battle Hardened Scavenger, EOD Tracker Strong Arm, just lets you see the trajectory for your equipment. I don't know if it makes you throw them faster, or further rather, and Extra Tactical. Same for this, so you equip any 2 of these and you start a match with them. Then, the bonus perk is this. You actually have 6, except the problem is that I'm scrolling, but if I didn't scroll, you would think there's only 5 of these, but there's actually 6. This one's hidden. Again, the problem with the way they set up menus in this game, maybe I think the cards in this instance could just be thinner, like these ones. These are quite thin, and they fit 8 in a single screen, but because these are meant to be stronger perks, they're fatter, and they hit one completely. If you didn't know focus was here, now you know, but you wouldn't have known without even, like, deciding to randomly scroll. And there's also not that arrow right here that would let me know that there's items hidden behind. So again, needs some work, this system. So that's the system right here. So what we have here: resupplies your lethals. Spotter lets you see field upgrades, killstreaks through walls. Highlights, you can highlight them for your team, and you can even hack some claymores, proximity mines, C4, and trophy systems. Neat. Cold-blooded, you're untargetable by AI streaks. Also, player control streaks won't be able to see you. They can still kill you, but they can't see you. Fast hands is sleight of hand. That returns as a regular perk. Makes sense given how it is unlocked in this way now. But what I like about this one in particular is that it doesn't make your reload animation go faster. It actually just changes your reload animation altogether to more faster, better types of reloads, depending on its tactical reload or an empty reload. Neat stuff. Quick fix, my favorite one in this game. You kill an enemy or you capture an objective and you heal up almost immediately. This allows you to be way more aggressive. One of the best perks for aggressive classes. And focus, which you have less flinch overall, and you can focus a little longer with sniper rifles or super long range optics. And finally, the ultimate perk, same problem. You would have think there's only 5 here, but psych, there's a 6th one. Gosh darn it. High alert, you're notified if an enemy is seeing you from a distance, from an angle that you're not looking at. Ghost deletes you from the UAV, and portable radars and heartbeat sensors. Pretty powerful, and you're not required to move to make this work like in the Black Ops games. It's permanent. But it's an ultimate perk, so it's not as bad, as in like you can't camp from the start of the game with the benefits of Ghost, because the UAVs will pick you up. Hardline, which I don't think makes too much sense as an ultimate perk. This makes a lot more sense as a bonus perk right now. But as you can see, killstreak reduced by 1, score streak reduced by 125, both equivalents to 1 single kill. Overclock charges your field upgrade faster. Survivor gives you last stand. Damn it, Infinity Ward! Nobody likes last stand. However, the difference in this game and why it doesn't bother me all that much is that you don't pull out your pistol on last stand. The only thing you can do is revive yourself twice. You know, this says once per life, but apparently people have been using this twice. And I think it's useless. It's basically what happens when people kill you in Warzone. You're put in this stance where teammates can revive you, and you can't do anything else other than just move. And if you had a self-revive kit, then you could revive yourself. That's basically what this does for you in multiplayer. But more often than not, when you're in this state, some teammates will not give themselves time to revive you in a 6v6 environment. This plays differently from Warzone after all. And enemies will kill you almost immediately as soon as they see you laying on the ground. And they may even debug you because you're using something that nobody likes. So beware, this isn't all that useful. Haven't seen too many people run it, and those who have haven't been performing the best in any of their matches. And finally, Bird's Eye, which initially I thought this was a classic minimap, which by the way this game has the same minimap as 2019, so no red dots on the minimap. By default you need a UAV, or a radar, or you need a camera to understand where enemies are coming from. There are ways. But yeah, I still agree that regular minimaps should be back, just because so many people, an overwhelming amount of people have been asking for its return, so might as well listen to them, right? What this one does is actually, it just zooms out, so it's like there's this perk in Cold War that does the same thing, that zooms out, and also tells you where enemies are spawning. It pings them on the minimap when they're spawning. This one doesn't do that though, but it does zoom out the minimap. And UAV and radar pings reveal the enemy's direction, so like advanced UAV, but it's not a permanent thing, it just gives you the direction. And I suppose the neat thing is that you ping enemies on the minimap when you earn it. This is the only perk that has an effect when you earn it. And that's it. Honestly, this one isn't that useful. Knowing your enemy's direction isn't as necessary as just knowing their location. And you do that by default with the UAV, so honestly, the only real benefit of this perk is that you have a zoomed out minimap, and for ultimate perk standards, this doesn't fly. If they're gonna keep it in this state, I honestly prefer to have this as a base perk instead of an ultimate, because as an ultimate this doesn't make any sense. Now, before we end, this system has been rather controversial across the community. People want a traditional perk system back. I don't disagree with them, but I also don't disagree with this system. I see potential benefits to having more powerful perks earned throughout the match as a sort of player progression of sorts throughout the match. But I will say this. The way that they rebalanced this in the beta, where the bonus perk is earned like sometimes less than a minute into the match, maybe a minute or so, I think it makes the idea of the bonus perk pointless. If you're gonna earn it so fast in a match, then why is it earnable in the first place? You might as well just give it to us. If we only have to wait for a minute to use this, what's the point? That minute wouldn't make a single difference if it was available from the very start. So the bonus perk idea only really works if it takes some amount of time to earn it in a way that's relevant. 2 or 3 minutes seems about more relevant than 1 minute, or even less if you're performing out of your mind at the start of the match. Right now you unlock this almost immediately, which again defeats the purpose. Might as well turn the bonus perk into a base perk at this point, just in a different tier of perks. Right, so don't turn these into base perks, right? Don't turn the available bonus perks, don't add them to the basic perk category. I have this separate, but more like this would be tier 1 perks and this would be tier 2, and then the ultimate perk could still be something extremely powerful that you earn halfway through the match. I think it could be rebalanced in that way much better than how it is right now, because right now, again, it's fairly pointless. But overall, I don't disagree entirely with the system. Again, the ultimate perks at least can be extremely powerful, and it makes sense that the power level of the entire lobby increases at some point during a match and makes things more interesting. It could also enable some playstyles as well. The other controversial topic is, why is Dead Silence not here? I wouldn't mind if Dead Silence was either a bonus or ultimate perk at this point, or ninja, without entirely silencing your footsteps but reducing them heavily. And if you want to add counterplay to that, then you can also have sit rep Or one that I'm proposing right now, how about turning Bird's Eye into Sitrep, like calling this Sitrep, allow you keep the same benefits as Bird Eye, but also let you hear enemy footsteps louder, to have the counterplay to Dead Silence that would need to come with the addition of a perk like that. If you're gonna have counterplay, then you might as well make Dead Silence completely silent as a perk. Is it redundant with the field upgrade? Not really. I mean, Vanguard had it. Vanguard had Dead Silence and Ninja at the same time. So might as well try something like that. I think a lot more people would be happy. And Sentinels are going to Sentinel, but if they really want to hear your footsteps, then they're giving up Overclock for trophy systems or Ghost. Most Sentinels would love to have Ghost available, or High Alert, but mainly Ghost so that they don't show up on the minimap, or Survivor to have a chance of reviving themselves. But they would have to give the super powerful perks in order to have the ability to listen to footsteps, at least rather well. And then by default you would reduce the enemy footstep volume without applying any sort of Dead Silence or Ninja, but globally reducing the footstep audio, so that Sitrep helps you with that, and then it also counterplays Dead Silence. But then those people who don't want to give up Ghost for Dead Silence, then they won't be able to hear you as much, and in the moment of destruction you might be able to kill them very easily. So that's it. That is a complete overview. I don't care how long this video is, this is what I'm gonna publish. This probably is about an hour or so. Not beneficial for the channel, but this is what I wanted to have. This is sort of a resource to look back on when the game fully launches, to see where it was in the beta and where it will be on launch. I will do the same kind of video on launch to make the proper comparisons, and if they at any point decide to update the system past launch with anything that's truly relevant, then I might do an update to that video as well. But as of right now, this is what's going to stay. And if you are interested in knowing what was available in the Modern Warfare 2 beta, or if you want to look back again as a sort of resource for historical reasons, there you go. This is what that video was for. So this is it. Thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.